Hey, hey, hey. How are we doing? We all good? Fantastic. Well, welcome to another episode of Fascination Street with me, Jimmy Pearson.
And me, Meek Pearson.
And this show is brought to you in association with our good friends at PMG Goods, truly cosmic clothing for our community by a member of our community. And remember, if you enter promo code FS15 off, you will get 15% off every order over $40, which is not necessarily a bad thing because if you live in England, you get more bang for your buck. So that means you can order more.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's slow on the uptake there, mate. So, how you been? How's your week been?
It's been brilliant. I've enjoyed my week off. Now I've got to go back to school on Tuesday. But then, one day later, I'm going swimming. And then the next day, I'm doing PE. And then the next day, I don't know what else I'm doing.
Be doing stuff.
Yeah.
Doing stuff. Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
So, what have you been up to on your week off?
Chilling. I've been keeping my mind. There's another word, keeping my mind occupied.
Oh, occupied.
Yeah.
That's rather nice, isn't it? Wow. So, have you not done anything? Oh, excuse me, I've got a dog here that's falling off the sofa.
I have gone to a party and it was my friend Ethan Gibbs. And it was fantastic.
What type of party was it?
A laser tag party.
Laser tag.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You had one of those for your birthday last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it was so cool.
Yeah, it was. Well, most of the people actually showed up.
But the same was at your birthday party?
No.
Oh, okay. So, hang on. This dog is falling off the sofa. Come on, Doug. Have you come? Fascination Street Dog has decided he wants to be an acrobat this evening. Good boy. And with us, as always, is
Good evening, all.
producer Sarah.
I'll be taking your questions. Make sure to keep them in the caps lock.
Oh, caps lock. Check that out. So what you've got to basically do is shout at Sarah, which is great. I've spent the last 15 years doing it, and we're still getting on okay, aren't we?
Yeah. We're surviving. We're surviving.
Any phone calls? Have you made any phone calls this week to anyone at all? At all?
Yes, my nan.
Who else? Anyone else?
Yes, some random person. Should I tell you exactly what I said to them, guys? You ready? I said to them, when they said, "Hello, is this Sarah Pearson?" I say, "No, this is not Sarah Pearson. Who is this then?" "I'm her son." "How old are you?" "I'm 9. "Well, can you tell Sarah Pearson that you can phone up again?" And I said, "Well, she's going to be for a couple of hours." Guess what? Pretty much soon after that phone call, 2 minutes later, "Hello, I'm home." Done. Oh no. I should not have done that.
The way you told that story. Epic. And
what was it in your view?
It was quite amusing. I'm her son. I'm 9 years old.
I'm 9 years old.
You think next month you're not going to be able to say that anymore. You're going to be, I'm 10.
I'm 10
I'm
years old.
10
years old.
On that note, we both have birthdays next month. Mine is on the 11th of November.
Mine's on the 23rd of November.
So Mika's is a day before a show, and mine is a day after a show. So there will not be any Fascination Street on the 10th of November. However,
on Sci-Fi Decrypted,
on the 11th of November, I'll be doing a show with Joy Jackson and Kelly, and we have a guest. So I haven't been cleared to say who it is yet, even though I think they've done the publicity side of things. But yeah, so there'll be no Fascination Street on the 10th of November.
Will not be.
But you will be able to catch me on my 40th birthday. Dun, dun, dun. Live.
Old man.
I'm old anyway, love.
Look, he's already grown a beard, and he's going to grow one all around there, and he's going to grow one all around there. Guys, he's grown up.
Mummy has anything to do with it.
No, Mummy has divorced me. So I'm growing one immediately. So what I'm going to do is there's no Fascination Street on the 10th of November, but I will be doing Sci-Fi Decrypted with my ladies on the 11th of November, my birthday. So hopefully you'll be able to come over and join us for that. And then afterwards, we're going to be staying, not on air, but we're going to be staying about, and we're going to be taking part in the mass meditation that's taking place. Now, you may have seen it around the net going on.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of people there. John D'Souza will be there, and a few other really, really big names.
Yeah.
And the last one we've done the Los Angeles one, didn't we? And that was amazing.
Yeah, with Jimmy Church, wasn't it?
Yeah, you remember you stayed up late and we done the meditation together as a family?
Yeah, I couldn't be able to do it. And at the end of that, I was actually crying, saying, it's so beautiful.
Kids and meditation, it's a good mix. Really, really good mix. So who we got with us today? We got a good crowd in today.
Yeah, we've got Lizzie, we've got Stacey,
Never heard of them.
Kelly,
never heard of her.
We've got Dex,
Uncle Dex, Auntie Joy,
Joy Jackson off the internet.
Joy Jackson off the internet is in there. Yeah, we have got Inquire Within.
Inquire Within. Never heard of him.
No, we have got who else we got?
Auntie Kelly.
Pat is in there as well.
Pat Breeze, the elf. Hello, Pat.
Yeah, he's in there. I think he's actually got to go food shopping, but he'll be enjoying the show listening while he's going around the supermarket with his cart.
You've waited all
Meep,
week for the biggest show, and you're going grocery shopping, Pat. Let's give him the look. Right, everyone in the chat room, humour Pat immediately.
Mm.
Okay, you sit back down now.
Ah, lovely. I love sitting down.
Now stare at him again.
Mika, Stacey is quite upset that you don't get excited about her in the chat room anymore.
I do. I get excited all in my head.
How much do you love Stacey?
A lot. It's Auntie Stace.
With your hands, show with a visual representation the medium of how happy.
I might need your hands. Okay, right. Your hand on the other side. Even bigger. Even bigger.
Oh, we're going right way around the room.
Yeah.
Sarah's
A
changing.
million,
Right,
trillion, gazillion
There we go,
times.
Stace.
Right, okay. So that was a lot of arm.
You didn't see it all.
That was a lot of arm. There was a big visual representation there.
Yeah.
Oh, all good.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Oh, how adorable Mika is.
Who said that?
Stacey.
Oh,
she's
thanks, Auntie
biased.
Stace.
She's biased. She used to say that about me once. Once, indeed.
Once.
Oh, dearie me.
Done.
Okay, there's a lot of quiet going on.
I'll give him the death look.
That is the look that I get from Sarah when I've done something.
Oh, Inquire does say though that I still get that about you, Jimmy.
Oh,
'Cause you got taste. You got taste.
Aww.
Inquire Within.
The-
We've got a guest called Inquire Within tonight, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so actually. Hang on, let me look on the rotor. We had.
That one.
Yeah,
No, that one.
it's definitely saying that we do have a guest.
It's Inquire Within.
Is it?
It is. I know it's Inquire Within.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you now. I'm with you.
So yeah. So we'll be talking to Inquire Within tonight. We shall be discussing one of my favourite things, rock music.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Your hat is kind of on one side and it's pushing your ears forward and you're looking like I did last week.
The death
There we
look to daddy.
Right. So we've got Inquire Within in today and we are talking about heavy metal. We will be talking about Disclosure. We may possibly touch on events that are happening within the community at the moment. And we're going to be talking gnomes.
Talking about gnomes.
So, by the magic of the internet, at any moment now, Inquire Within should come on the screen again.
Oh, hey. I forgot we had that code word going on.
Yeah. I mean, normally my safe word is blueberry pancakes, but
Yep, that went right over my head real quick.
that's okay. That's okay. Everyone needs a safe word. So, how are you doing, Brett?
Man, I'm doing good. It's been a busy and hectic morning over here, but it's all good. I'm ready for this.
Did you get the business taken care of?
Nope, not at all. We're gonna have some people coming by to fix up the car. So
I tried to make that sound as dodgy as I could, but
yeah, so
Brilliant.
in a little bit we might have a bit of noise going on outside. Hopefully it's not too much.
that's okay. That's okay. Right.
We have noise too. We have fireworks that set the dog off.
Yeah, for some unknown reason, they're letting off fireworks really early this year, and like Dougie's not too good with fireworks, so there may be at some point you'll hear Dougie losing it, but
That's all good.
that's all right. I'll just send Sarah or Mika after him.
Send me.
Right, so Inquire Within. Whoa. Inquire Within is Brett Larsen's solo music project and platform for all his disclosure-related projects. Nearly every day, he shares his thoughts and findings with his social media following, introducing new people to these topics. From his 2017 debut album, Universe in My Head, he partnered with 15 other musicians from around the world, including musicians who have performed in the bands Megadeth, the Devin Townsend Project, Soilwork, 6 Feet Under, Chimera, Dying Fetus.
Yeah, that's a brutal one.
Yeah. The Juilliard Symphonic Orchestra. There we go. That's my balls up for the day. Symphonic. And more international acts. Using music to introduce people to topics like CE5, cover-ups, and all things ET UFO related, Inquire Within is seeding disclosure to the masses. Fair one?
Thank you.
It's like you wrote it yourself, really, it is.
That's weird, huh?
So, Brett, when did you start making music? I mean, I first knew you as a Fadenor when I joined the community about a year ago, and you were quite high profile then, and you were doing little bits and pieces, and then you kind of seemed to peter out for a little while. I mean, was that a music related thing, or was that a lifestyle choice at that time?
So it was only recently I became a Fadernaut. I've listened for years. I just recently decided to jump on the whole Twitter side of things. I think that's why you've been seeing me pop up on there. But I started about 11 years ago, and
Wow.
so at first it was with various death metal bands, and so did that for years, just making the heaviest, most brutal, extreme music I could possibly make. And then Inquire Within started. Oh man, it's probably been at least 4 years ago now is when I started this project. And so I it started out as like it was going to be a band, a music thing, but I knew the recording process was going to take a while. So I made the Inquire Within Facebook page and just had the page start out as kind of a disclosure based platform. And so through that, I was able to build up a pretty huge following before I even had music out. And so I would, as we were writing the music, I would put out little behind the scene clips here and there, and then explanations of what the lyrics were about. And I would tie that into videos of like people like Dr. Stephen Greer and Wilcock and all of them, or even people like Dr. Dean Radin and others. I was always using the Facebook following that I had gathered and pointing them towards the people that were inspiring the lyrics. So that's where it all started. But then, yeah, the Twitter and Fate or Not thing, that's a recent one.
Yeah, right. So how did you first get involved in the whole disclosure thing? I mean, what was sort of like the catalyst for you bringing it forward? Because I mean, you bring it forward and you bring it forward pretty strong. I mean, I got a copy of your album, and seriously, how can you not think at any point that there's not anything even remotely disclosure related in that? I mean, every track has something, and it's not just sort of like meaningless lyrics. I mean, you listen to so much nowadays; it's so manufactured, like, and
Yeah.
I mean, there's only like a couple of you that I think are out there doing this at the moment. That's like you and Donnie.
Yeah, there's that. There's some others. I know Jimmy Church, he brings up his friend Peter Togtren a lot. He's
Yeah,
in the death metal band Hypocrisy and has his rock and roll heavy metal band Pain, and his lyrics, those are pretty good. And Devin Townsend, and
yeah,
it's surprisingly a lot of death metal bands. I think out of any genre, death metal probably has the most bands using their music for disclosure, which I think a lot of people would be surprised by that because of the stigma of it all being satanic and this and that, where it's like some of the heavy hitters nowadays in that genre, their lyrics are like some of the most well written, educated lyrics I've read.
yeah. I mean, we're big Motorhead fans. We absolutely adore Motorhead, and I mean, even like some of those ones. I mean, like Death Show. I mean, that is such an amazing track. I mean, I don't know if you're overly familiar with that one, but it's kind of like people's fascination with wanting to watch people being killed on the internet and
Yeah,
stuff like that, and you're walking through the street and you're seeing someone sort of like dying on the, but you're going to get your cell phone out and you're going to record it rather than try and help that person. It's kind of like the shift of society as it is now. But
totally.
you've kind of gone that one step further, and you're kind of bringing the whole kind of
Yeah.
ET UFO thing to the music, which again, as I say, I think is amazing. And there's not enough out there that should be doing this.
Yeah, one thing that I've gone back and forth a bit on some of the lyrics I've written where, a lot of times artists they'll use a lot of metaphors and stuff as they're trying to make their lyrics more poetic. And for me, I usually just go a more straight to the point route where I don't really have many metaphors or any of that stuff at all in there. It's just, oh, this is what's happening. There's
Yeah.
not much room for interpretation in a lot of it.
Yeah, but that's how you want it though. You want it straight to the point. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's always like I'll have songs here and there that aren't totally that way to leave the listener more room for their mind to come to whatever conclusions their mind needs to come to at that point. But I've got a lot to say, and so I squeeze a lot of lyrics into those songs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want arty farty, think about it. I mean, just listen to the Dandy Warhols or something, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty out there. So, what was your earliest sort of like into the music? I mean, were you always like musical as a child? And
So for music, what got me into it was, well, ever since I was super little, my parents, they were always listening to stuff like Rob Zombie, Korn, Marilyn Manson. My parents were into the heavy stuff, not as heavy as what I ended up getting into, but I was always loved the heavy music. And so then when I was about 15, a group of friends that I made in school, all of them were musicians, whether they be guitarists or drummers or singers. And at 15, my group of friends, they were all prodigies, just doing sweeps, any arpeggio, string skipping, scale, blast beats, double kick. And so I came across this group of friends that just, yeah, prodigies of musicians. And they wanted to get a band going. And I never played any instruments up to that point, and so I got a guitar, but they were so far ahead of me. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to try to be a guitarist in a band with these guys. That would just hurt my soul trying to keep up with them. And so they wanted to make a death metal band, and so I just started learning how to do those crazy guttural vocals at about 15. And so we started the first band that I did in high school, which was like, it's not the first band, but it's the one where we finally started kind of getting stuff down, winning all the battle of the bands and stuff. It was called Cadaver Collection. And it was
that's pretty
lyric
cool.
lyrically and stuff, because I was young and just getting into death metal and stuff. And at that point, I thought that, if it's death metal, it has to be the grossest, most vile, brutal lyrics you can come up with. And so there was no meaning to any of the stuff I wrote at first. It was, how can I make it the most disturbing horror movie on stage that we can? And so after a few years of that, I ended up leaving that band to join one called Sins of a Bullet. And that's where things kind of took off for me, because it was just a lot more, I guess, musically mature band. The guys that I was in that with, well, after a couple years, some of the guys from my old band came in and joined it. And that's
Sweet.
when lyrically I started expanding more to more political themes and then theological themes, because I was in college, I studied theology, and I was always really interested in it growing up. And that's also when I started kind of touching on the I guess conspiracy sort of stuff, because I was into UFOs from the time I was younger than you, Mika, and so you're getting in at a good time. And that had always been a big interest of mine. And my friends and I, we would binge watch UFO videos almost daily on YouTube throughout junior high and high school. And so that's kind of the musical beginnings. And then once that band, it came to a unfortunate demise right when things were getting to the point that we were really happy with it being at. And so the lead guitarist and I started Inquire Within with another friend of mine that was the lead guitarist of Cadaver Collection. And we wanted to, at that point, because all of us, all we had ever done was death metal. And we wanted to start doing something different. So we were thinking doing a complete 180 shift and making it an acoustic band. And I had been doing some singing lessons at that point, just kind of getting ready for stepping outside of the death metal world. And so initially it was all acoustic, everything we were writing. So that the first album, Universe in My Head, was written, finished, and rewritten probably about 3 or 4 times before finally put something out, because we kept doing acoustic, but all the acoustic stuff we were doing just started getting heavier and heavier. And it's like, well, this acoustic guitar can't make it that heavy. So at that point, we decided we're not going to have any specific genre or style. We're going to do, each song is going to be whatever genre or style we want it to be. And so we figure on the album, there's going to be plenty of songs for everyone to love and hate, because out of my fan base, I have a big portion only like listening to the calm acoustic stuff, and a even bigger portion are way more into the really heavy stuff. And so, and then there is a good portion of the fan base that does like the full spectrum of it. So that,
I mean,
and then
I'd appreciate it more if you'd done all kind of like Bieber stuff, really. I mean, big fan.
that's on the next one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're collabing.
Yeah.
Me, Bieber, and T Swift. Yeah.
That's it. As long as you don't end up having some kind of Britney Spears style meltdown, mate, and shaving all your hair off in public, that'd be great.
It would just be for a PR stunt.
Do people do things like that?
Well, I mean, Manson was always the main guy I looked up to in the music world, so I might have to do something crazy to keep up with him. I don't know.
I don't know how you're going to outdo Manson in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, when I was, what's that?
Break guitar. That'll be a good way.
Oh yeah, well, for Marilyn Manson, when I was younger, I had all these grand plans of how I could take shock rock up to the next level. Now I'm older, I've got kids, and I'm like, I'll leave.
I'm just gonna, and then when I'm halfway there to my birthday, I'm gonna do it anyway. No, I'm gonna keep it there. I'm gonna keep it there until my birthday.
But it all changes though when you grow up and you have children.
Exactly.
I mean, every year we were at festivals. I was always the one really known for doing really outrageous stuff. I mean, we used to have barbecues, go hedge jumping.
Yeah.
We just used to do, but then this happened. And then you do, don't you? You kind of think, well, a month out of work repairing my broken ribs that I got from jumping on a kiddie's trampoline at like a barbecue isn't really going to pay the mortgage.
No.
It is going to. Matt up the road. He jumped through our hedge down. That's why I've got the big hole in the hedge. And he broke his ribs on next door's wall.
He didn't realise there was a wall there.
But yeah. Little story there. But yeah, you do. You kind of, everything kind of shifts, doesn't it? I mean, I'm hoping next year that we're going to try and get Mika to like his first big rock concert or something like that. Because as I say, Sarah and I used to go every year to festivals, concerts. I mean, how many times? I mean, we've seen Ozzy Osbourne, God knows how many times, and that guy is loud.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we saw him just before he'd done his last solo tour, going back a few years now, and he'd done a concert hall not far from us, and that only holds a couple of thousand people. And I couldn't hear properly for about 3 days after.
It's good.
Honestly, it was intense. It really was. And then I think, how long was it afterwards?
A couple of years after we went to the O2
to go and see Black Sabbath.
Because we were in the disabled seats, we were right next to him on the left-hand side.
Yeah, you could probably spit gum like to the stage where we were sat, and that was just nowhere near as loud as when we saw him in this little venue. It was great.
Oh, I know what you could have done. When you were on that 3 days when you couldn't hardly hear anything, I'll have one drink. What did you say? I would like one drink. What did you say?
It was a good enough reason to ignore Mummy for 3 days.
Not you need any reason.
So when did you decide though it was going to be like the best idea to kind of really immerse yourself into the whole disclosure thing? Because I mean, you do that away from the music as well with like the videos and other bits and pieces that you do. So
Um,
how long have you been doing like the videos and that for?
so the video side of things, I started a couple years ago, and I mainly do that through my Instagram. I have barely anything on my YouTube. At some point, like with some of the plans that I've got going on, I go back and forth on if I want to use YouTube or not. I'll probably always upload stuff onto it, but that probably won't be my main platform. So Instagram is always my main one because they have that feature where you can just do those little video clips that only stay up for 24 hours and kind of disappear. So almost every day I'm putting stuff on that, and I've lately been uploading a lot more into the more permanent side of it. And
Mm.
so between that and then for a long time, the Inquire Within Facebook page, I was always putting stuff on there, but uh, it kind of it sucks because I have to start using it more just because I that is where the bulk of my fan base is, and I've kind of been leaving that hanging. But it's because forever on Facebook I could do one post and you can check what the analytics are, and I could see how many of my subscribers news feeds it was popping up in, and it was in the tens of thousands out of the couple 100,000 that it would show up in. I'm like, all right, well, that's decent enough of the amount of people seeing it, and the engagement was really good. And just over the years, Facebook's been cranking it further and further back to it got to the point to where if I wanted if I wanted even a tenth or not even a tenth of the subscribers to see what I posted, I would have to pay and to boost the post. And it's like it just I hate giving my money to Facebook. I'm thankful for the platform they built and how that is what got my name out there and stuff through the Inquire Within Facebook page. But it's like I had built that all up right before they started really dialing everything back. And it's, I don't know, it's almost painful posting on the Inquire Within Facebook page. And part of it's my fault in the sense with how their algorithms work, where first they cranked it back a lot. And then also, the less you post, the less the algorithm works in your favor.
Yeah.
And so I started posting less when that was happening. And so it was just kind of double piled up on me. So I know I keep going off on these tangents and forgetting what the main question is.
I don't know. You carry on. No,
Oh,
seriously, we're good with it. We've got a while to fill in, mate. So just go for it
all
because
right.
I'm
But
light on the question front at the moment.
2 hours.
We got anything on?
Go
No,
for it.
we've got a couple there.
We have got a
That's right.
couple of questions.
As
all
you were,
right.
carry on, Brett.
It's all
So
right.
But,
I'll ask all the questions in one go, Brett.
what's that?
Sarah asked all the questions in one go. So,
Okay.
but yeah. So I mean, because I left Facebook just before the whole Zuckerberg thing and all that kicked
Yeah,
off.
he did.
Totally stopped using it, and then obviously we all got the shout of On Stella,
Done.
Yep.
and I was like, oh, here we go. This is going to be good.
And then, about 10 episodes later, now you need to use Facebook.
Yeah, because we just weren't where we'd gone from doing all the podcasts and everything. I mean, we had hardly any listens and stuff like that. So we was wondering how we can kind of hire the profile. So the first thing that was suggested was Facebook. And I
Da-da.
really hated myself for having to go back to Facebook. And I'm still not very, very vegan kosher with being there now. I won't lie to you. But
Crikey, I could attack it anymore.
crikey, mate, it could attack at any moment. I feel dirty about being there. But again, it has its good points. I mean, where we've just shifted over, I mean, you're our second guest we've had on YouTube. So where we were, we done our first YouTube show last week, and I think we've only had about 125 views on the first video. Whereas by the time we were finishing a possibly 2.5 hour show on Facebook live, we were getting like 300 odd views. And that was before we'd even finished. So
And then we had also a video before I went on holiday, didn't we? And in 2 weeks, we had, as soon as I came back, 1,000 views.
that was on Facebook.
And just the way I was just like,
It wasn't so much views, was
what?
it? Just scrolling
Yeah.
through.
But the thing is, I mean, I think where they miss a trick is the fact that you can't actually download the videos that you do live on Facebook. And that's a real bummer for me.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, well, you used to be able to, but I'm not sure whether it's one of the updates they've done that they managed to patch it, because you used to be able to go in through your desktop,
Hmm.
and when you got to do it through your PC or laptop, and where you had like the video, you go to your profile as normal, so it'd be HTTPS blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and then you could scroll down to your video, and then you'd play it, pause it, and then you'd get rid of the, I think it was www dot, and you just put an
IO.
M there, and then you could open it up in mobile mode, and then you
Yeah.
could right click and then just save it to like your hard drive. You
There
can't
is
do
a
it.
workaround. So, and I just figured this out, how to download some Facebook videos. So there's always websites that help you do that. So on my Instagram, how I recently was posting up all the Above Majestic trailers. When I was talking to Roger about me doing that, I was like, oh man, how am I going to download these videos? And so I went to their Facebook post videos of it, copied the link, and I found a website where I just pasted in the link and I could download the video. So you might be able to do that with your own videos.
We need to talk later.
Yep. Pirating your own stuff.
Mate, how good does that film look?
Oh man, I am excited for it. There's going to be some good stuff in there.
Yeah, not wrong. Oh, did you say that you've already pre-ordered it?
Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't seen any of them talk about or promoting the pre-order. Like I know they're promoting the film itself a lot, but yesterday I just decided to type it in on iTunes and see if it would come up, and a pre-order for it did come up. So
Wow.
yeah. So
So I wonder if they'll be doing it on like Amazon or something.
I know they are having it initially iTunes, Amazon, I think the Google Store, and Xbox.
Yes.
And so I know of those ones for the initial release, and then
Big
I'm
Xbox
sure they have
fans.
plans to expand after that initially.
I'm sorry, we've just broke Sarah with that synchronized. Yes.
Oh,
I don't know even why I'm excited, because I haven't even seen the trailer really. But
Have you not?
hey.
oh.
I don't know if it's going to be your thing.
Okay,
but,
well,
I mean,
yes. Anyway,
obviously, me and Mummy will have to watch it first just to make sure. Obviously, but yeah, I mean, everything that I've seen from it so far, only just sort of like, I mean, how many different? There's about 3 different trailers out, isn't there?
there's
Uh,
12.
yeah, I think so. About 3 of them, but the most recent one they did, that was my favorite. That trailer, that's a good one.
Which one was that one?
It's the one where it talks about the Nazi moon bases,
Yep.
anti-gravity. It has.
See, it's really weird because since that came out, I played it to someone at work the other day. I shared it on my Facebook, and I was at work today, and someone was like, "Hey. So, what do you think? Well, did the Nazis ever make it to the moon? You know, their Nazi moon bases?" And I thought the only way you could know that is if you just watch what I posted. So honestly, it's getting so many people like engaged in conversation. It's so bizarre. I mean, people I work with,
Yeah,
engaging me in the phenomenon and everything. Now it's coming a little bit more out there. I mean, how do you think we're going with the disclosure movement? Because you do a lot. Would you go as far as saying that you're possibly a disclosure activist, or is
yeah.
activist a bit strong?
No, I mean, I'd say yeah. I mean, I'm not running around yelling stuff in the streets, blocking roads and stuff. So I'm not an activist to the point of that, but I'm a good. But no, on a daily basis in the real world, talk to probably 5 to 10 people a day about all this sort of stuff. And then online, I'm reaching out to a couple thousand a day talking about this stuff. So I would say activist, is that a fair word to use?
Passive activist.
Yes, yes, a peaceful activist.
I like that. I like the peaceful activist side of things.
Oh, yeah.
We like
I
peace.
get all the anger and violence out in the death metal songs I put out.
Absolutely. Have you got any plans to do like a multimedia kind of thing?
Yeah, I do. So I felt bad because it was 8 months ago or so on Instagram. I was announcing a show that I was getting started, and I even had about 3 months of episodes lined up and ready to go. And I, a problem that I have, which I do to myself, is I constantly take on so many projects at the same time that I end out having to put out other stuff in the back burner. I'm trying to do so many things at once that nothing gets done. I'm constantly doing that. Like I've got business stuff that I'm doing outside of the internet and disclosure world stuff I'm getting started, and then I have other businesses that I'm helping other friends out with, and then I have my music, the videos, and so my something that I want to do is I do have an online show that will be starting. I can't say when, because last time I said when, that should have happened about 4 or 5 months ago. And so something that I ended out kind of, one reason I was pausing it is because I was hearing rumors of OnStellar hosting live streams and video content and stuff. And I figured, oh, that's where I would rather, out of any social media, I would much rather have the hub of it being posted through there. Getting a little impatient though. And so, I mean, OnStellar still, don't get me wrong, that is still my favorite thing out there. And with how it's kind of more decentralized a little bit, they don't have all the ad revenue and weird algorithm stuff. It's a very level playing field for everyone. And so I think once they have the video content portion of it ready to go, I think that's when it'll really go up to the next level. There's some big features that I'm hoping for that I think will blow the website up, and then I'll utilize it a whole lot more once that stuff's up and going.
Yeah,
So
totally. Because that's what we were waiting for. Because Fascination Street Live was going to be an on-stellar thing to begin with, but again, we started to get a little bit. We'll give it a little while longer. We'll give it a little while longer, and then we're not there at the moment. I mean, I'm still hopeful that something's
oh
going to
yeah,
happen.
I'm confident that it's still going to happen. And from what I know, it looks like it's a smaller team running that whole site, and that's a big thing to take on. They just, in a very short amount of time, those guys put in a lot of work and made some big moves. So I mean, still totally have nothing but respect for what they're pulling off. And yeah, it doesn't look like they're taking any big corporate money or anything to get it going. So I understand that it's taken time.
Yep,
But
absolutely. And that's sorry, buddy.
oh yeah, I was just gonna say, once they have that, I think everything for all of them and everyone involved will go huge.
There we go. Exactly what I was about to echo. Yeah, without a doubt. But did you allude there to, like, in all of that you actually lead a normal life as well?
A little bit. I mean, I don't know how
Really?
normal, but I'm, I guess, entrepreneurial. I like to put my hands in a lot of things at once, but that's why I don't ever get anything done, because I have one person will reach out to me, be like, hey, do you want to get in on this that I'm doing? And another friend, oh, I got this business thing going on. And they're like, hey, we want you in on it. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll do this. And then all of a sudden, like, hey, sorry, I quit. Oh no, can't do that anymore. Oh crap, I'm supposed to be finishing an album and all this, writing a book and getting a show going. So I think just in the moment I get real stoked about things. I'm like, oh yeah, that's something I want to get in on. And so I gotta get better at that. Gotta
That's it.
say no sometimes.
And then you got people with shows as well wanting like introduction tunes and stuff written as well.
Yeah,
And
real annoying.
honestly, cannot thank you enough for that. That was amazing. In fact, where's the questions here? Because Mika's
It's
got
actually one that somebody has
one. Oh, someone has
actually
already asked it as well.
So if Mika
Right.
wants to actually read that one
you able
from
to-
Dexter.
Are you all right to read Mummy's writing? She hasn't done it in crayon this time.
Oh, great. I can't even read Mum's.
Right, okay.
Right, find me the question.
Oh, it's not on this one.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I cannot read Mummy's writing.
Oh, there we go. Right.
Told you it was.
You helped us by making the theme of Fascination Street. What inspired you to come up with this amazing tune?
Well, the kind of the rhythm of it was something that I had written almost a year ago, but I just never really had a place for it. And I changed it up. I switched up some of the chords, I guess the pattern of it, the strumming pattern, I guess is what I had come up with quite a while back. And then when I was talking to you guys and you saying like kind of the musical inspiration and vibe that you want, I was like, all right. I was kind of struggling at first. And so then sometimes when I'm having a hard time coming up with stuff, I'll go through my huge backlog of stuff that I've written and never used. I was like, okay, that's a good strum pattern. And then, but the chords though just weren't the vibe that I felt like was right. So I rewrote the chords for it. And then once I had that, I wrote the lead riff that goes over it, and that I just thankfully that was a real quick and random thing that came out. So I was happy with it. Sometimes some of the best stuff happens real fast. And so then I uploaded all that into my computer and started throwing in all the weird trippy sound effects and soundscapes. And yeah, I guess the main inspiration behind it was, well, for one, Fascination Street, the song, and then just I guess the vibe of your guys' show, where it's not a dark, scary anything. So I know I couldn't make it metal, my kind of metal, and and so yeah, just try to make it kind of psychedelic and slightly feel good and mysterious, I guess.
You done such a good job. I'm yet to meet someone that because I went to work just after you'd sent me the original copy, and I was chatting to some of the guys, and I was like, "Oh, so how's things going?" I was like, "We've got a new theme tune." I was like, "We have a listen." I was like, "Yeah." So I sort of sat there and was listening. Every single person there was like, "This is really good." Even one of them turned around and said, "Do you know this wouldn't be out of place in a Tarantino movie?"
Well, I hope it's not in a Tarantino movie. I might be getting sued.
Right, Sarah's got a lot of questions, so I'm going to swing you round to Sarah.
Go
are you
for
ready? Okay, and then straight afterwards you'll be back to us. We'll carry on, and then there'll be some more in a bit.
it. All right.
You see
Hello.
what I have to put up with?
That's a lot.
Sarah, meet Brett. Brett, meet Sarah.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Oh my God, what I have to put up with here, you just have no idea. Okay, we've got a few questions from the chat room already. Most are from Dexter, but the first one I have is from Marilyn. She asks, "Do you like black metal?"
Oh yeah. That's in my earlier days of doing music, black metal was definitely one of my biggest I guess, inspirations for it. Stuff like Dimmu Borgir and Behemoth, which to this day still are, especially both of them had new albums come out this year. So
I think I've
I've
met them.
I've been thinking about for the album I'm working on now, I want to have at least one song that has a good kind of old school black metal vibe to it, mixed in with my own thing. But oh yeah, I'm all good with black metal.
Awesome. Brilliant. Okay, now Dex is bang on it. Bang on the questions. Okay, the first one. What was it like performing at Soultech this year?
Oh, Dex.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. It's kind of funny. So at first, when I got invited to do my EP release there, at first I didn't realize that they were all. I should have, of course, realized that they were wanting me to perform too. But in my head, I'm like, well, it's for a few years now. Inquire Within has been a solo project where I'm the only one in it writing all the instruments, and so it's like, oh, I can't really perform live everything at once, and I will. I'm hoping.
One man band.
Yeah. So when it was coming up, like we were a week out or so from Soul Tech, and then they sent me an email being like, "Oh, hey, like, can you keep your set list to this time limit?" I'm like, "Oh no, I got to do a set list," and so I I had to break all the rules of playing metal and rock live, and I had to backing track it, which I don't ever want to do again. Like, I'm still totally happy with like the show. It was so much fun, and I feel like for a show like that, it totally worked out fine having all the music be through backing track. But that's a Justin Bieber move, and I don't want to pull any Biebers on anyone. And so yep. And
That's my jam.
I you gotta so for some of the songs, all the songs I performed were ones that are going to be on the next album, and one of them was from that EP that I released there. And so yeah, I just got those backing tracks ready and went for it. So it was live vocals and that. So what I did was I got some 8 or 9 foot tall inflatable aliens, and I put those up on the stage with me. And I told everyone that my bandmates got abducted on the way there. So these guys were filling in. Yeah. But at Soul Tech, that was great. It's actually been a couple years since I performed live at all. And so, especially with Inquire Within, I'd only done one other show live, and that was a couple years prior, and it was an acoustic set. And I mean, I could have, I guess it might have been a smarter choice if I would have just done an acoustic set and played the songs acoustic and sang, because then at least there's some live guitar. But other than that, once my last death metal band split up, the only shows I had done was sometimes some heavy metal and death metal bands have me fill in if their vocalist is sick and can't do the show. So it's every now and then I do that. But yeah, Soul Tech, it was good getting back out there.
Good. Awesome. Okay. We have got. Where did you get your Sphere Being Alliance shirt you were wearing before the show? Dex wants one.
I got that from I think just Corey Good's website is where I got it from. I got it years ago though. So yeah, when I kind of first came across Corey Good and all his stuff, which I mean, if you read my lyrics and all that, then you'll see that that's his testimony is a huge part of what I write. And so there was a music video back in 2016 that I had written out and scripted and was going to do for the song Close Encounters, which is on that last album. But it was back that song used to be acoustic. And then that guitarist, Kelby, he had left the band. And so I was like, oh man, I really vocally and lyrically, I was like, I really like what's going on with that. So that music video didn't happen. I guess what I was getting to was I had hit up Corey and I was like, hey man, can I wear, are you cool with me wearing a Sphere Being Alliance shirt and a music video I'm going to make? And he was all good with that. And so I ordered up that shirt with the plan of wearing it in that music video. And so now 2 years later, though, I did wear that shirt in the last music video I did for Universe in My Head. So there's your long answer for Corey Good's website. That's where the shirt came from.
Yeah, I want one too, definitely.
Yeah, Joy did share the link, but I still wanted to ask the question because I like to try and ask every person's question, whether a link is shared or not. So
oh, that's nice. I don't know if that shirt's still around, though. Maybe. It was years ago when I got it.
But he does like the one you're wearing now. I'll point that out too.
Okay.
Where did you get that one from? That'll be the next question.
No, it's not actually.
Well, Dex is stealing my shirts as well, so don't feel bad about it, Brett. I don't.
It's okay. We can all match.
It's a homage.
Yeah.
Okay. How many gnomes do you have in your collection, and what's the deal with them?
Okay.
That's also from Dex.
The answer to this might get me arrested.
We don't need anything like that. We've got a 9-year-old here, remember?
Yeah, remember, you're meant to be a role model, Brett, now, okay?
So how many do I have? Unfortunately, I'd have to say it's probably under 100 now. It used to be closer to that 200 range. And how it all started was, well, it started with me and my old friend Sam from junior high and high school. We were wandering around one day and we saw a gnome in someone's yard, and being proper 15-year-olds at that time, we decided.
You borrowed it.
Yes. Well, we made it a hostage. We took the gnome. Well, we saved the gnome. We liberated it from the forced yard work. And
that's brilliant.
So then we took a picture of it, wrote a ransom note, and put it where that gnome was. And we told the people if they want the gnome back, they have to put like a bag of jelly beans at a certain place at a certain time. And they never.
They never answered.
No, I still have that gnome. That gnome is on my work desk, so it's always right there.
Oh my god!
Is that the one that you use for the logo as well?
No, that one. Well, this one.
I love that gnome.
Hang on
a second.
This one was from my uncle. I think it was a Christmas gift.
That is amazing. We love that.
But the reason why I have so many is because then on my 16th birthday, a bunch of friends stopped by my house and they're like, hey man, you got to come out to the car and see what we got you. And so I go out there and they pop open the trunk and they had stolen every gnome they could find across like a couple of cities. And so there's probably like 150 in that trunk.
Oh my god!
And so I never knew what to do with them. Like I was like, well, I'm not going to put them outside. Then people will know I have all these. And I think I'm past that statute of limitations thing, so I might be in the clear now. But so I had those just in my closet for years, and
God.
People always thought that was real weird first time they came over. But
gnomes in the closet.
Did it affect any of the ladies in your life though, Brett?
Thankfully the gnomes didn't have a big impact on that, thankfully. So one day I was like, man, I've got way too many of these. Now I regret this because I figure, well, I might as well just own this and make the biggest collection in the world. But I live real close to Mount Pilchuck here in Washington. It's my favorite place to go. And so one day I loaded up like 3 backpacks full of gnomes, and a friend and I were like, all right, let's climb up to the top. And so as we're going up to the top of the mountain, I was hiding gnomes all over the mountain in all these obscure places. And then at the very top of the mountain, there's a fire watch tower. And
Oh no!
so we brought a bunch of like industrial super glue, and we super glued the gnomes all over the ceiling, the walls, the railings. We loaded that thing up with gnomes. And unfortunately, this story has a tragic end, because then the next week I decided to go up there again and see what's going on with all the gnomes. Got to check up on them, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And so we're going off trail to all the spots that we had put them, and I find broken pieces everywhere I go.
No.
I'm like, man, well, for one, I put some of these in some really intense places where it's like someone, as we were going up, was like, man, someone was on a mission, destroy all the gnomes. And then we get to the top, all of them were shattered or thrown off the mountain, and someone had with a knife carved really big into the wall of the watchtower, "The gnome war starts now, all gnomes will die."
Wow.
So that's where, once that happened, I was like, well, all right, I guess I better keep them at my house.
Damn, the Clone Wars.
That's intense.
That is bad.
Yeah, I didn't want to sacrifice any more troops to the gnome war, so
No.
Wow.
so yeah, that's why I have all the gnomes.
You can have that gnome.
Oh wow. Okay, I've gone from crying to tears. Okay, you said about on Stellar. Dex has actually asked, have you actually invested in the tokens yet on Stellar?
Oh, like, have I invested money into it for the tokens? If that's what he's asking, yes. I still to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what the whole, I know they're making like a cryptocurrency thing.
Yeah.
I haven't looked that much into it. I really don't know much at all about cryptocurrency. I just figured, hey, on Stellar's cool.
What the hell?
Might as well throw some into it, see what happens down the road.
Yeah, right. So I know there was basically the tokens you were just buying to be able to buy stuff from other people. Originally, that was the plan, wasn't it?
I think so. I don't know enough about it to really talk into it, because I don't want to get anything wrong about what they've got going on. But
yeah,
I figure at some point I have faith that they're going to have something awesome going on with them. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
Okay, we've got, funnily enough, Sci-Fi Decrypted, which this is obviously Joy that I know is asking.
Joy Jackson off the internet.
Joy Jackson off the internet.
Okay. Joy.
Who are your favourite artists?
Oh man, that's hard to really pin down. I'd have to say, over the course of the last 11 years or so, the bands that have always been part of the influence would be Marilyn Manson, Lamb of God, Whitechapel, Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Some Rob Zombie, some Muse, Devin Townsend, Behemoth. It's Gojira. I don't know. There's so many bands that I listen to on like a daily basis for the last decade. So those are some of the big ones that have always been a background influence.
Cool. Okay. Dex, he's really bang on it.
Wow, Dex.
Who did the Inquire Within artwork?
Yeah.
So that is my friend Jorge Gutierrez. He did all the artwork for my old band Sins of a Bullet. He did all the album covers and logos, and He's a really cool, talented guy. How I found him was he was doing all the artwork for some of my favorite death metal bands back when I had my death metal band. So bands like Suicide Silence and plenty of others I saw him doing artwork for. And all his artwork at that point, it was all just the most brutal, gory, heavy metal artwork. So for that band, I was like, oh, that's perfect for this. And then it was really cool because simultaneous timing wise with me getting Inquire Within going and changing it from being all brutal to deciding, oh, I should have lyrics that can have more of a benefit to the world, and had my own kind of worldview and shifts in myself of my belief system. And so as I was making the music I make now with the sort of lyrical content, I noticed was shifting from making all the really gory, brutal heavy metal artwork to really transcendental and ET based, very just psychedelic alien artwork is what he was doing and is still doing. I've seen he's done some huge murals down in California. He's a busy man doing a lot of art. And so I decided, like, I loved everything he did with my old band. So I told him that he's stuck with me for life when it comes to doing album covers. And so, granted though, like with Samvartica Fire, the EP I just put out, my girlfriend did the artwork for. But I told Jorge, when it comes to full length albums, he's the one.
He's the man.
Yeah, he is great.
Okay, we've got a question from is that Genocide?
Yeah, Genocide.
Genocide. What music gear do you use?
What music did I use?
What music gear do you use?
Oh, gear. Sorry. My guitar is a BC Rich Kerry King special edition thing, and my acoustics, an Epiphone. I don't know what model. And then when it comes to all the soundscapes and the digital side of my music, I do it all through Native Instruments. They have, I don't even know how many gigs worth of. I basically bought everything Native Instruments has to offer, and they're kind of the staple of the I guess dubstep and electronic world. They're one of the main go-tos for getting gear and plugins and stuff, but their stuff is perfect for any genre, including doing, like, they have everything you need to do scores for films and video games and stuff. And so that's why I went with them, is because for the album I'm working on right now, I want it to have a way more industrial kind of feel to it, more like kind of Static X and all that good stuff, but then also a much more epic theatrical feel. And so the Native Instruments, I'd say that's kind of, for the new stuff I'm making, that's probably one of the things that defines the sound.
Awesome. Okay, that is all the questions I've got. You want to see these two? You want to see these two?
Back to them.
We've been chatting. Look at this.
I was so boring they passed out.
No, dude, it's cuddle time. Every time's a good time for cuddle time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, the picture behind you.
Yes.
While we're talking about artwork, tell us about what was the influence.
So this is the album cover for Samvartica Fire, the EP that I released at Soltech.
Yep.
And so lyrically, Samvartica Fire, I mean, it's only a 2-song EP. It was very, very lyrically influenced from Cosmic Disclosure and Wisdom Teachings, much like a lot of my stuff. And so And the concept of the Symvartica fire, that really stuck out to me, especially the little series of episodes Wilcock did on explaining that, and how all these ancient world religions and current ones have their own version of the Symvartica fire, and kind of the great cleansing that'll destroy the AI overlords and all that. And I just thought this is a cool concept. So
Right.
my girlfriend, she painted this, and so this is the original painting of it.
So everything else was taken from this very painting, yeah?
Yeah. So this is the only difference in the actual album covers. I just digitally put the Inquire Within logo and Symvartica Fire right there. But I thought she did amazing with it. She's got, the blue avian, the golden pyramid head thing, and all me and a bunch of people kind of in a meditation holding the blue spheres, and obviously the kind of the earth kind of in flames, but not intended to be like some dooms apocalyptic thing, more representing the big cleansing. And kind of, it's hard to see from there, but in all these Merkabahs, there's people kind of floating up, kind of transcending. And so then the UFOs have DNA strands coming out of the beams. And then we have the reptilians and Saturn up there kind of trying to flee from it all. So she put a lot of work into this painting. So whether you're into the whole Corey Good stuff or not, on an artistic level, she went all out on that thing. So I'm very, very grateful and happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, I'd ask Sarah to do me like a deeply inspiring picture, but I've seen Lowry's Matchstick Men before, so it wouldn't really be anything new for me, you know. So I mean, you say there's quite a lot of inspiration that you have from Corey Good.
Yeah.
And I mean, anyone that's been living with their head in the sand for the past week wouldn't. Yeah, I'm going there. I'm going there.
That's bring it on.
Yeah. I mean, we've all got our own take on it. It's very, very rough, turbulent times for everyone.
Yeah.
With regards to obviously, the ball and everything having to be cancelled because of threats and things like that. That's not cool.
No.
And the article that you wrote, I thought was pretty spot on. So
yeah,
for those that haven't seen the article, would you mind sort of like running over bits and pieces with it? I mean, if you need to use your phone to get your bits up or whatever, just run.
No, I mean, kind of the overall thing with it was over the last week, I had written and almost posted like 3 or 4 articles about the whole thing, where I was going to go kind of a lot deeper into it than I did, but I just kept kind of looking back over it and being like, am I going to benefit the community at all by posting just what my opinion is on it and stuff, where it's like, sure, there could have been some value to it. But then when I finally posted that one yesterday, I posted it right before I ended up seeing that the whole premiere got canceled and the whole threats and all that stuff that happened. So, but basically, I mean, I've been keeping up. I've been watching the YouTube videos from both sides, hearing everyone, and just a theme that I kept seeing way too much of was just personal jabs and attacks. And so me, I can totally understand why plenty of people don't believe the testimony of Corey Good or Greer or anyone. Like I can see why that's a lot for people to take in, and some people expect more stuff to be presented, and that's all good. That makes sense. And so there's that. And then, everyone's like, oh, so-and-so's a psyop. No, the other person's a psyop, which some people could be. But I could see that. But to personally attack people and just the ridiculing of everyone that kind of enjoys what Corey Good does and supports it and stuff. Like, I mean, for me personally, like, none of that stuff offends me any, but it's very counterproductive to do that when the people who are more anti Corey Good and all that, if you want to go after him and his testimony, that's fair. I mean, everyone has to expect that to happen if you're going to come forward with these claims. But then to completely group in everyone that's ever worked with him, everyone who is a fan or supports what he does, to just swing some punches at every single one of them does not help anything. Where I can see how some of the people going after Good, to them, they could genuinely think that they're trying to do something positive for the community. I can see how they, in their view of things, they would think that kind of attacking his testimony, I get that. But yeah, when you're throwing personal attacks at everyone, it's just the whole divide and conquer. It's gonna split everyone up, and it makes it easier. And why I can see how so many people are like, oh man, this is a kind of a deep state divide and conquer tactic. And some of the people throwing these attacks, I really doubt that they're involved with some dark, sinister, deep state plan. Some of them, I could see how they could be.
Yep.
But yeah, let's just, forever, there's always been different factions, I guess, within the disclosure world. There's the people that are all for Greer, but then not all for Wilcock and Good. Then there's the people that like Greer, Wilcock, Good. Then there's the people that are like, oh, none of them. Everyone has kind of the main people that they look up to for information. But I've never seen a time where everyone, or where not everyone, but where people would all of a sudden be like, oh, you support this person, you listen to their information, then you need to be banished from the disclosure world and community, or you are a host of a show and you interviewed this person and heard what they had to say. Oh, you're a fraud. Get out of here. It's like, no.
You had that though with Jimmy, didn't you? Because he'd had Corey on in the past and that, and then you had people kind of laying into him over that as well. I mean, I'm gonna be out there. I mean, I love Corey. Fact, I'm more than happy to admit that. But
Yep.
I won't just stop there. Because I think if we're going to need to get a bigger picture of everything, we need to look like you did. I mean, you were very intelligent the way that you've done it. You looked at both sides because we're grown up enough to know that there's always three sides of every argument: his, hers, the truth.
Yep.
And the way that it was carried out from those attacking the people in the Sphere Being Alliance and Corey, I think that was coordinated in every way, because I saw some of the guys from the Sphere Being Alliance putting their bits and pieces down on other people's posts that they put something, and it was like, just hordes of people coming in just to attack like one person, and that's not cool to watch. That's quite bad.
No, so I think that there's probably a couple people that had an agenda with making that happen, but then I think the majority of the people that got involved probably aren't part of some sinister agenda. They're people that just fell into it's kind of like a riot in a sense, where a couple people start going crazy, and then all of a sudden other people, like herd mentality, attack, and it's just
Absolutely.
Take a step back. Like, you're not benefiting anyone.
And then you've also kind of got the hero worship aspect as well. This guy, and now he's attacking, so maybe we should. And then you just gain no ground. There was,
counterattack, and it's like that's not gonna work out. And so, actually, yesterday, after I posted that article and before I saw the posting that Corey did about having to cancel, just all that stuff, I was actually working on a little 1 minute sketch video, like a little comedy thing where it was going to be kind of making fun of internet trolling. And it was gonna, like, not to personally go after anyone. I was planning on it being a more light-hearted thing, but then after I got it all written out and I was about to film it real quick, I saw that posting and I was like, oh, might be too soon. So
Yeah. We all have too soon jokes, right? But there is a certain line that you don't cross, isn't there, Brett?
yeah, I figured that's one where I didn't realize things had gotten to that point, and so
I mean, some of it out there was proper brutal. Some of it was pure savage. And, I mean, I've only been in the community just over a year now, and I've never known anything like it. And I think some of the attacks that were on the Sphere Being Alliance were just not justified.
no,
Great, there was volley shot from both sides, but what came to those guys was not cool.
no, and I've been following all this stuff for about 10, 11 years, and like I've seen all the different smear attacks against Greer. I saw the last couple rounds that went against Corey and Wilcock, and I've never seen something get to this point.
Yeah.
And it was sad.
I mean, is it something that like us in the ufology kind of community is going to remember for quite some time now? Do you think?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you think it's got to a point now where what's gone and what's unfolded here is something that will be remembered for a long, long time? It'll be talked about in kind of ufology history, right up there with other things. Because I mean, I know, like listening to Jimmy over the past couple of weeks, he's alluded to someone being outed, and or maybe that was just my interpretation of the
Yeah, well, I
situation.
believe he
I mean,
said
I don't believe for a second it's going to be Corey Good. I do not believe that at all.
no, like, because I mean, if based off of everything that's recently come out about Corey, I mean, if that's all there is, then he's not outed. I mean, there's some valid things and some valid questions that people have brought forward about his testimony, but no evidence has been presented from the other side that can discredit any of the stuff he's talked about. And
No,
so
I mean, it's just smear. I mean, like, obviously, we know that a certain person and Bill Ryan had worked very closely together, but there again, Bill Ryan had also released a comic book as well, which,
yeah, and
he
it's
was
like,
attacking Corey for
well,
doing, but he done the same. But that's okay because Bill Ryan done it.
yeah, and when it comes to the argument of people, oh, it's so much money, blah blah blah, it's like, well, what do you expect? I mean, for one, any person in this field has the right to monetize what they do because, for one, they can put out way better content that way. And if you're making a living off of writing or blogging about this, well, then you have 8 to 10 hours more a day to put into research and putting valid content that can move the community forward. So to argue that people can't make a living off of this, or it's immoral to make a living off of this, that it doesn't work because these people can put forward so much better content. And then, like with Corey doing a documentary, oh no, documentaries, that's a valid way to get information out even further. Or the comic book, it's all right, him coming forward with all this stuff. I mean, it might be pretty hard to get a regular job after that. He's got a family to, take care of. So why not make a comic book version of your testimony? Because also that's going to introduce these subjects to so much more. So whether you believe his testimony or not, there's still aspects in it that are valid across all secret space program studying. And so these comic books have and graphic novels have a way to reach a new audience and introduce these topics to them. And so there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. I mean, like the younger generations as well. I mean, they love the animation. I mean, Mika has watched the animation version of the comic, which was on YouTube.
What
Corey, good story, darling. You did watch it. But all right, we'll flip it out to the audience. Okay, if you had an experience like Corey Goods or anything like that, and you were able to get it out, the story out, but you were able to do it, but still support your family, keep your house, keep your car going, be able to afford to get to these places, maybe hotels to stay there to tell your story, would you do it? Because I think personally you'd be an absolute plum if you didn't.
Yeah.
All right, Brett, for instance, someone offered you the money
Hmm.
to spend your life doing your story about your music, getting your message out there, your word out there. Would you take it?
Well, yeah, in an instant, you know.
Still dollar
Because
bills.
I
Yeah,
always make it rain, make it rain.
that's it.
Dollar.
So, I
The
mean,
more that people want to pay me for my stuff, the better. Bring it on. I actually,
absolutely. I mean,
it was about a week ago on my Instagram, which is like I said, where I'm the most active. It was right before the Corey Good stuff. I ended up having some people start blowing up the comments on a bunch of my posts, accusing me of being a shill for money. And they're like, oh, you're just like Greer and Secure Team and this and that. And they're like, so I guess the argument I threw back, I was like, I've never once asked for money. The only thing I've ever gotten money from in all these years of doing this is I make my money from selling my album, which, oh no, a musician is selling an album, and selling band merch. So it's like, the people that were coming after me about being a using disclosure for profit. I mean, I can see how people might think, oh, I'm using the themes and cashing in on the disclosure world as subject matter. But so when it comes down to it, I'm introducing people to it. So,
and again, I mean, you hit the nail on the head on the last part there. If you're making the money to keep the information coming, and you've got all that extra time where you're not having to worry about a 9 to 5 and stuff like that, then where is the problem? There is no problem there. If you're making a serious amount of money, then okay, I can understand people taking umbrage with it or have an issue if you've got like, you've moved from like your house there and you've got like, this penthouse suite with a built-in like jacuzzi, swimming pool, and then you've got like a Bentley downstairs. And all right, fine, take issue with that. But a man with his story, trying to support a family, man, I do it. I work a job that I dislike immensely. And every time I go there, I die a little bit more. If
yeah.
someone gave me or the opportunity to be able to do this or have my own radio show, I would bite their hand off for it.
Yeah, I think probably most of the people that argue against it would probably do the same thing if they were given the opportunity. So,
Yeah. But that's it. But again, then you've kind of got kind of the corporate disclosure thing coming in as well. Then I'm not cool with that. The corporate
yeah,
side. And I believe that if we're gonna move on, and I believe that proper disclosure is going to happen, I genuinely think it's going to come from grassroots, and
totally.
I do.
And that's why I'm a big supporter of my friend Costa Macrease. He has one of the biggest CE5 movement things. He worked with Greer for a while and he did some stuff with this Sirius documentary and this and that, and he's gone on and he's been doing his own thing for years now, where he also takes people out on these CE5 expeditions for a week and all that. And he started something years ago called the People's Disclosure Movement. because he also is very adamant about how it's not going to come from the government. It's not going to come from corporations. It's going to come from a grassroots movement of the people. And that's why I think CE5 is one of the best ways to bring forward disclosure, because it's a method where people can prove to themselves that there's something crazy going on out there. And so, you know, and all you need is a lawn chair. You don't need money for it. And so if you can end out having a sighting that's unexplainable for yourself, and then you tell your friends and family about it, sure, some of them might think you're crazy, but it's kind of going viral outside of the internet.
And it's getting a lot bigger as well, I've noticed, this whole CE5 movement.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that a few people are going to be watching this that have no idea what CE5
Oh, that's
is.
a good point.
So, do you mind taking over the reins from that, my man? Explaining
Yeah,
to everyone what
yeah.
CE5
So
is,
it's
etc.
close encounters of the fifth kind. So it's human initiated contact. And there's, you know, some people where I don't want to misrepresent, but I believe people like Greer, Costa, possibly Emery, because he worked with Greer also and did some of the CE5 stuff and still does. Anyways, it's kind of a meditation and remote viewing where it goes off of the concept of all points in space and time are simultaneous and all minds in the universe are one when you go deep enough into a conscious state. And so through a meditation, you can contact these extraterrestrials. And by doing this meditation, remote viewing kind of yourself, where you're at on Earth, almost like you're sending up a beacon, then all of a sudden, like, there's literally thousands of documented videos of this working, where people, you can be by yourself, you can be in a group, and then UFOs just popping up over your head to the point where it's undeniable. Because if you try to do it in a very kind of professional way, you'll pull up the satellite charts, you'll check the flights that are coming and going, and so that way, if you see something and it's questionable, you'll be able to be like, okay, at this time tonight, at this point in the sky, there is going to be this object going by. But then so many times it'll be so like the first time I ever did it, it was right after I had watched Sirius, Greer's first documentary. And so me and my friend Kelby, who he helped start Inquire Within, we went into my backyard and we went through, did a meditation and all that. And then we see just this big bright red ball pop up in the sky. And then from there were two white light, or no, it was three white ball lights that came out of it, and it was in a triangle formation. So at first we thought it was just one craft with three glowing points. But then these three balls of light ended up spiraling around each other and doing all these movements that conventional known craft don't do. And where I lived at the time, I was really close to multiple military bases. And then after a couple minutes, we start hearing helicopters fly in from over there, because for a helicopter, it would take probably 10 minutes to get to that area from the base. And then as the helicopters were coming, these three white lights just go back into the red one, and then the red one was just gone. And so that was the first time I ever tried it. And at that point, I was like, all right, for myself, I now can't deny that there's some crazy stuff going on. And it all spiraled from there. And that's a big part of why I do what I do, was that experience right there.
And I mean, how many would you say? How many experiences would you say do you have one every CE5, or can you go a few without?
There's been a few where I haven't. I think a lot of it depends on your like kind of state of mind. And I know like Jimmy Church, his method is a lot different than the standard traditional method. His
Woo!
yeah, that is his method. Is right there. He just goes out, gets all jacked up, and then stuff happens.
CE5 alive.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think there's an actual one method to make it work, but I've had many where nothing happened at all. But I've had many where it was just nuts. Where, especially when I went to Soltech, like it was every single night there. We saw probably, without even exaggerating, 20 to 50 crafts where it would be really, really hard to convince anyone that was there that it was something other than a UFO. Maybe a man-made one, but most likely not.
I don't know, man. There was some pretty compelling footage put on YouTube by Peter Maxwell Slattery.
Yeah,
I mean, those power ups and that. And it wasn't
exactly.
long after seeing those, I was on my way down to work in the morning, and I experienced pretty much the same thing, but with my own naked eye. And it was so good that I even managed to get on the phone to Sarah, video call, and actually show her what was going on with this thing powering up. It was
Oh
so
wow.
bizarre. I done like all the usuals, check for like the space station, and I've got a really good app on my phone, and it's called Star Walk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of it or not. We can get it in the States, but it's only like British. It's only about £3 to get, so maybe $4.50. Um, but with that, you get all satellites on there. You get all other bits and pieces, all constellations, and it plays really nice new age panpipe music sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, but like with that, I mean, obviously, I gave that a good go first, and it wasn't far from the Beetlejuice. So, I made sure I got everything right because Mark Tirana sent me like a message like, "Hey mate, have you made sure that it's not the space station?" And I was like, I didn't really think of that at the time. But then satellite, space station, stuff like that. I mean, they always move. Like, I mean, I see those a lot, and they always kind of go where I live in town. I can always sort of like tell you the direction that it's going to go in around that time and that anyway. So it's not no drama with that at all. So, but that was kind of a big one. And then we had one earlier on in the year. We'd been out stargazing for the evening, hadn't we?
Yeah, and I went up to bed because I was so tired. And
So
then,
we'd been looking at Venus through Mummy's new telescope, weren't we?
yeah, and then suddenly, like, I didn't hear it, but then, like, I could hear a little, oh my gosh! And this thing that you saw,
Yeah.
what was it like?
It was again checked it all out for all satellites, space station, but it was going in totally the opposite direction, and it was kind of, how would you explain it? Metallic-y, weren't it?
It
It's the
was.
only way you can explain it.
Yeah.
And it was just going across the sky, and it was going a lot faster than a satellite would, and it was just cruising. And Sarah was indoors just getting some bits and pieces together, and I was like, Sarah, just get out here now. Look at this. So we both kind of stood there. I mean, we must have looked like a right pair of prats in the back garden. Wow. So I kind of treated it with a little bit of skepticism, like to begin with, and then stuff started happening. So I realized then that I couldn't ignore it.
Yeah, that's. What about, have you seen anything, Mika?
Pardon?
Have you seen any crazy craft in the sky?
No, but I,
Oh, good question
well,
here, Brett. So
uh,
tell Brett. Brett's cool. Brett's cool. It's only us and Brett. No one else is
no.
watching on the internet.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens is I've got two little friends, and they have been wondering to come and visit me. And I'll tell you the name because they're quite popular. One is called Radar, and one is called Peter. Now, the one thing is Mummy has had that UFO experience with looking up with Daddy. and I would count that as an experience. But when when an alien comes into your house and then finds out you've got a piece of string hanging off your dress, and then he pulls it to think you
Not
can
my
get it
dress.
off, not mine either, and then suddenly you say thank you and they don't even reply. You know, it's just like saying that an animal will not reply to you because it won't. It will literally go,
So,
it will just look and then walk away.
do you want to tell? Do you know who they are yet, Brett?
Oh, from the Sandia.
Yes.
Yep. I think I recall hearing about this.
Yeah. So we're actually in talks with Sue and Otter at the moment. So when they have a free schedule, they'll be joining us on Fascination Street as well.
Nice.
They've been honestly, we've stayed in contact with them, and I mean, they've always sending Mika little bits and pieces, little stories, little things that they've heard, and so
Oh, that's
that's
really
really
cool.
really
That
nice.
I hadn't
Yeah,
heard about them until that time they went on Jimmy's recently. That's some pretty interesting stuff going on there. At first, I was like, "What is this?" But then by the end, I was like, "Hey, that's they got me convinced."
yeah, totally. I mean, did you hear did you ever listen to Quantum Hologram Matrix?
No, I haven't.
Right. Well, I'll send you a link afterwards. Are you on Google or Apple? Your cell
Uh,
phone.
my phone, it's Apple, unfortunately.
I'll message you through where you can get it because I'll
Okay.
have a look and see whether or not you can get it on YouTube as well. But they done it's Reverend John Polk. I don't
Okay.
know if you're familiar, but
That sounds, yeah, I know on Twitter.
it was him and Awakening Man, and they were hosting Sandia on his show,
Okay.
and I even stayed up till what was it like 1 or 2 in the morning to listen to it. And I'm so glad that I did because it was great. I mean, Jimmy done a fantastic job with them, but this show was very, very cool.
Okay, I'll have to
So,
check that out.
right, following our Corey Good conversation,
Oh yeah.
surprisingly, I think we've broke the internet. So
Oh
I'm going to
no.
pass you, yeah, I'm going to pass you over to producer Sarah now.
Oh.
You need to write a theme tune for Sarah's passing. Not passing, not passing. Wrong word, wrong word.
I know what you mean.
Thank you. Right, hang on a second. Let's get you nice
Right.
and straight. Right,
Mika,
producer Sarah.
first, you wanted to ask a question.
Yes, I did. You
Oh.
can read it.
Oh, you want me to read it?
Yes, because I told you
Oh, okay.
you're the comment reader.
Oh, I'm sorry. So sorry. And there was me thinking that you were asking the questions to our guests. Never mind. Never mind. Right. Mika's question was,
Oh.
how did your girlfriend get the idea for that picture behind you?
So we both did a bit of brainstorming of a couple specifics that I wanted to have into it, which were the blue avian, the golden triangle head, the spheres, and aside from that, though, I mean, her and I were on the same page on just about everything, and there was a couple specific episodes of wisdom teachings and cosmic disclosure where I was like, all right, listen through these and what they have to say, and then also just the lyrics for the 2 songs on that EP. And then so aside from a couple little specifics that I knew I wanted in it, I let her just
Have the free reign.
throw out whatever happened. And even I was texting Teresa Yanaros, and she texted over a couple good ideas that would be like good symbology to throw into it. So I'd say 90% of it, though, more than 90%, was all from my girlfriend and what she came up with from listening to all that.
She's a keeper.
Awesome.
She's a keeper.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah.
Are you happy with that, Mika?
Yep, I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh,
Right.
good.
Okay. We'll go to the chat room questions now.
Oh
Oh,
god.
the scary one.
Right, Mark. Why does this stuff seem to follow Corey Good? And would Corey Good be influenced by other members of his group?
I'm assuming what he's asking is the stuff that follows Corey Good as like a kind of this string of attacks. I'm assuming, and
I believe what we've been talking about. Yeah,
yeah.
the
So
amount of questions I had to go back and start freezing it because I couldn't get them down quick enough.
We've got nearly 2 pages here, mate.
Yeah.
oh man, all right, here we go. So
Buckle up.
my opinion on that would be a combination. He is saying some powerful things, and all right, let's say, what if his testimony isn't true? Regardless, he is still using his platform to expose some really dark, sinister things that I think a majority of people within this community can agree are happening when it comes to the power structure of the world, the elites. I know there's the kids, so I won't expand on. We know the dark stuff that's blatantly out in the open nowadays, and so, regardless of whether his testimony is true or not, he is exposing that stuff. So and he has a huge platform and following. So it would make sense that he would be targeted for some stuff. And then also, when it comes to just everyday people, I don't know if that's the right term for it, but just anyone in the disclosure community online that have problem with his stuff, saying, oh, not enough evidence is presented or this or that. I mean, I scrutiny of the testimony, that's fair. That's always going to happen. That's going to happen to every person that comes forward. And so I guess there's my answer for that. I don't know how good that was, but
No, that's cool. That's cool. Joyce asks, what drew you to Sphere Being Alliance?
I guess it was the overall message. So to me, the biggest draw was, what are the words I'm looking for? Just, yeah, I mean, the overall message, the peaceful message, the promoting unity. And he was very adamant from the beginning of, hey, please don't turn me into some sort of messiah or this or that. Like he made it clear he's not trying to be Jesus.
Yeah.
And then I've had my own really weird experiences that I can't provide hard documentable evidence. And same with thousands and thousands of people from the beginning of the UFO phenomenon, since the beginning of humans on Earth. So much of it, there's not a picture for everything.
That's
And
right.
so I think just because of my own personal experiences that I've had, I was more drawn to that because of some similarities.
Okay. Dex asks, have you had any experiences with the ETs or seen much activity in the sky? Which obviously you've gone a little bit over already, but have you actually had an ET experience as such?
So I guess yes, I guess it's as Mika's mother, it's not a happy one. So if you would rather I don't get into it, I won't. It's nothing too terrible, but I'll leave that to you.
Well, Mika's given a thumbs up, but it depends on how dark it's gone.
It's nothing too intense.
Oh,
But
that's cool then. You're okay.
okay, so basically, I guess the most recent was I was now it's all out on the internet now. It was one night after doing no, this night, no, there was no CE5 this night. I don't want to get that wrong. But I was just going to my bed, and as I just remember going into my room and there being a big flash as I was laying down, and I was like, hey, okay, maybe a headlight or a car. There's cars that drive by, and so then I just go to bed. But I just remember seeing that flash. It kind of stood out to me, and then I'm asleep, and I just, whether it was a dream or what, I just remember being on a table, being surrounded by, kind of somewhat typical gray looking things. And so it's just a flash of a memory I have where it's that. And then all of a sudden I'm awake on my bed, but I'm standing. Like when I came to, I was standing on my bed in the corner, just screaming, beep, 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 beep. Like that's how I woke up. Like I woke up standing on my bed in the corner yelling that. And
Wow.
so for ever since then, I've really wanted to have like a hypnotic regression, see if I can get more pieces of that together. And when I went to Soul Tech, they call it the Vortex, and it's a really awesome spot to meditate and gather stuff. And so I was out there and I was trying really hard when I was at Soul Tech to try to get more of the pieces, and it was just blocked. I was getting nothing other than that flash of an image that I already have. And so that's the most recent, other than dreams, where like I have I document my dreams regularly, and there's always some weird ET stuff in there. 99% of it very happy.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got. Dex, how many albums do you have available for people to buy?
Well, through Inquire Within, just the one full-length album, Universe in My Head, and then the 2-song EP that I put out at Soul Tech, and it'll be, I have no idea when album 2 will be out. It'll be next year at some point, unless something crazy happens. Where with the first album, I thought it was going to be released about 3 years before it finally did. So I don't think that's going to happen this time. So there's that. And then if you dig in the internet deep enough, you can find all my old death metal albums. But for Inquire Within, one full length, one EP.
Okay, that's brilliant.
And there will be a link for your shop put in the description, as always, after we finish the broadcast, mate.
Thank you.
Okay.
Always. Joy has asked, where can we come and see you next?
Oh.
Perform, not just anywhere, just perform.
Just come down to my grocery store. I'll be down there in about an hour. Yeah, no, just picking up some milk.
I don't know. Because since through various mutual things, the members that I had in this project, I decided I needed to move on with it kind of as my solo project. But with doing that, that obviously makes performing live a very difficult thing to do. And so before I get a live lineup to actually finally get out and tour and do all that fun stuff in my life again, I want to have the second album done. And so I want to finish writing the second album. And then what I'm thinking I want to do is I think I might just want to find a drummer, just a live drummer, and then I'll do the vocals and guitar live, and then have all the sound effects and electronic stuff and orchestral stuff. That'll be backing track. I'm not going to have 20 people tour. That's expensive. And so if once I'm done writing the album, I want to find a drummer and let that drummer rewrite all the drum pieces and record it. So that way they have their own creative input on the album. So maybe next year. I know I've had opportunities to perform at various UFO and ET related festivals, and it kills me every time to not do it. And it's just because I like Soul Tech, that was the first time we're like, okay, well, I'm already signed up for this. They want me to perform. I'll do it. And it's not like I have no phobia of performing. I've done that plenty. It's just doing this kind of music, you have to have live musicians. You can't just do it through backing track.
No.
Would you be open to like doing like just a show for your friends, like the Vader fam and stuff like that? Just like a little online thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I would rather be done writing this next album before I do that though.
Yeah.
But I'm open to many things.
Yeah, you are.
Hey.
Within reason, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we've just had someone we've just had someone come into the chat room that wanted to ask you a question. You might know them. Alex Larsen?
Oh, my cousin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys digging dirt
What
on you.
up, cousin?
Hey, dude.
What's your obsession with gnomes? Although we have already covered that.
Man.
And do they relate to extraterrestrials?
All right. Well, you should know the story of why I have so many. And
But I wanted to make sure we got a mention and to say your
yes,
family's
but
there, dude. Your
yeah.
family's there.
Fam representing.
So, a gnome relation to ETs. I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there that, the people that dig deeper into the fairy and gnome, like the real gnome thing. I've never gotten into that. I would say no. I don't think there is a connection between gnomes and ETs, but in various countries and various people's beliefs, I would be willing to guess they would probably come up with gnomes are interdimensional, man. I don't think mine are.
Will you be writing, maybe a rock opera about gnomes, or will there be like a gnome kind of gnome fest, or
Gnome Fest. Oh man. I think I
you
need
got
to gather a few hundred more to pull that off. But
gnome stock? There we go, gnome
gnome
stock.
stuff. I'm not against it. I mean, obviously I use a gnome as my mascot, so
Are any
might
of
as
your
well
songs
just run
about
with it.
gnomes?
What's that?
Are any of your songs about gnomes?
No, I can't say that I have any plans of including gnomes in my music.
Oh,
Just some of the
please.
visuals.
You've got to do at least one song about gnomes. Somehow try and make it not about gnomes, but it's about gnomes, because all of us that know you, Brett, know about the gnomes, and it's kind of a homage to those and your friends that know about the gnome obsession. I
I
will even I will even help write lyrics on this because it's something I believe in immensely. And you might be able to sell it to people with like grey culture that have gnomes themselves.
yeah.
And don't forget, you still have Norman coming over to you as well. We haven't forgotten.
Oh, that is much appreciated. He'll be
So
treated very well. So
what we'll try and do is like with Kelly when we sent her a package over, we'll try and find an England flag to go with it as well.
oh, perfect. That
Not Union Jack, England.
I'll make sure that the gnome carries that flag with honor and pride, even here in the US.
Yeah, Alex has just said he helped start the Facebook page to get you those 100+ gnomes.
The Facebook. Oh man, there was. I forgot. I did make a Facebook page about that a long time ago. I
Alex, you're
do.
bringing it all out, mate.
Yeah.
Bring it more.
Yep. I remember that. Or yeah, I think it was a page called Gnome Freedom Now, and it was to convince people to ship me their gnomes that they find, so they aren't into forced yard work anymore.
Oh, bless.
The Gnome Liberation Front.
Yes.
Mark has just asked, what type of bait do gnomes use when they fish? Mark.
Oh man.
Oh, Mark. Oh, Mark. And it was in caps lock, so I saw it.
Yes, it's interdimensional gnome poop. I guess.
But there's just one person that has actually put a comment on earlier that I saw it, and it was so relevant that I wrote it down. And it's from Erik, and he's because obviously we were talking about Corey Good
Is
and
that Stitt or Awakening
Erik
Man?
Stitt. Erik Stitt. He said Art Bell took the heat on more than one occasion. Bob Lazar, John Lear, Zacharias Sitchin, Whitney Strieber. I hope I'm saying their name. Strieber. Same thing, different day.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be attacks on, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, Greer has gone under, however many. Corey and David have already gone under plenty. Everyone who gets involved and makes a name for themselves is going to be
They're
attacked
gonna get
in some
stick.
sort.
Yeah,
And
they're gonna get attacked and stick.
yeah, and I mean, I even I guess this might be a stupid move saying this on here, but I posted on Twitter. I was like, I guess I haven't made a big enough impact in the disclosure world because my name hasn't been thrown in with all those others under attack right now. Man, I got to step it
You've
up.
just done it now, haven't you?
Man, darn.
Oh, dearie me.
With I guess in the disclosure world, the saying that goes in the music world might not work out so well. If like any publicity is good publicity, and so might not be the case in the disclosure world. But you know, like I said, the biggest musician I've ever looked up to is Manson. So maybe I gotta throw some stuff around in the disclosure world and be attacked. Ooh, rock and roll.
Okay, that is all I have got at the moment. Thank you so much for answering all those questions, you darling.
Hello.
You're gonna get sued by Jurassic
Right.
Park now.
So, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do the giveaway? How do we pick one person from the chat room, Brett?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way to do it is I have download cards where if they go to my website, there's a section where they can type in the code from the download card, and that will let them download the album. And so I don't know how you want to decide who gets
Right.
it. We should.
Well, I've had a brainwave in my own head and
All
everything. Right. Where Sarah is in the chat room now, if you pick a number between 1 and 20, she'll scroll up and pick the number of the name that you choose.
All right. Let's go. Let's just throw out a 13. Oh man.
Oh,
1, 2,
very
3,
death
4,
metal.
5,
Yeah.
6,
Oh.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's Inspired Truth with Willow and Dexter.
All right.
Dex, your constant messaging.
Yeah, and they rigged it. But I think
That's why they done it.
Yeah, I think the best way is I can through Facebook Messenger, I can send them the code because obviously if we post them up on here, then anyone could grab it first. So I can send Dexter a message.
It's fine. I've gone through and they're all writing their different numbers down. I'm getting confused now.
Oh, everyone else is just writing numbers, not you.
Oh,
everyone else is writing numbers down.
Hey, all those comments will help the algorithm boost the video. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh, mate, it's been brilliant. I can't believe it's been nearly 2 hours.
Oh man,
I could do this for another 2 hours quite easily. I really, really could. Sarah's tapping away. We got anything else in the chat room?
No, not at the moment.
No. Cool. So where are you going over the next week? What are you up to over the next week? Have you got anything planned, or is it just work?
I know after this, I got to go pick up my daughter, and it was her birthday this week. I already had a birthday party with her, but I figure we got another cake and more for her going on. So that's what I'm doing after this, and then
we like cake.
Cake.
Yep.
Cake is good.
then
We're
Send
aside
me some. Send me some.
We're British. We like cake.
aside from that, well, so my computer, the one I'm using for this, is the one that I've for the last year and a half been using to record, and then also with the book I'm writing, everything's been on this. And I went to New York recently, and
That was pretty cool.
somehow my computer stopped working right when I got back from New York. So almost every project I've had to go on pause for like 3 weeks. I just got the computer back, and so I have a lot of catching up to do. So that's
Fantastic. So what is your book about anyway, or is it too early to talk about?
a
Or
little bit too early. And my goal was to have it totally, even though I just started it like a month and a half ago, my goal was to have it totally done by the end of this year. I think since I lost 3 weeks of not having this computer, probably not going to happen that quick. But once I get further into it, I will let more info out about it. But
the
it's
big reveal?
it's going to be, a good, I guess, red pill is a way to put it. It'll be a very an evidence-based book. So 'cause
Wow.
I know people need that. So
Yeah, absolutely. Loads of evidence, loads of research.
yeah, it's actually I made the great mistake of announcing I was doing this right when I started, and I was like in my head, I'm like, I've got this for like what my plan is. This will be a breeze for me. Then I get going, I'm like, oh, all right, 5 hours, one page. Crap.
Yeah. I can't understand how these people are so prolific and they just bang out book after book
That
after
doesn't
book
make
after
sense to
book.
me.
I mean, like, a lot of the time we could probably come across as very unscripted, but there is a lot of work that even just goes into just doing a little show like this.
Yep.
And I mean, like, people sort of like see myself and Mika as like the presenters, but they don't see the stuff that Sarah does. So, because I'm the one, I get the bits and pieces. I WhatsApp it over to Sarah. Sarah's there on the tablet, tapping it all out. And, when you've got guests and that coming on, you want a bit of background on them without a doubt. So you kind of do a little bit of here, a little bit, and it's research because to talk to someone for like 2 hours, like we've never met before. We've exchanged a few instant messages and stuff like that. And that's the extent of how we've gone, isn't it? Apart from obviously pleasantries in the sandbox and stuff like.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we don't know each other from Adam, but yet it's like we're mates. We've been chatting for over 2 hours, and I could carry on doing this. And I'd really love to have you back on again at a later date because I think there's so much more that we could delve into. 100%.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm anytime.
Yeah.
I'm always down to jump back on here with you all. And I gotta let you know, young man, you getting started in this early on, I guarantee by the time you're in your 20s or so, you're going to be the guy that they want coming out to every single conference because your brain is getting filled with so much info at such a young age to where a lot of people that have more prominent names in this field, they don't start digging in until they're in their 20s. So you're going to be so far ahead of the game. And since you're already building up a social media presence, like imagine you starting it now in 10 years, what your social media presence will be. You're set. You're going to be making a living off of this and having people attack you for making a living off of it.
Come at me.
I don't know if you saw last week. I'd actually been demoted. I was no longer Reverend Jimmy anymore. I've been demoted to Mika's dad.
Oh, I was going to ask you. So I might just not know what's going on, but I saw your reverend is you're a dudist priest. Now, is that
Yes.
like of being a dude, or is that a religion thing? Or
Yeah,
is it just
no,
like,
it's all to do with the Big Lebowski.
okay, cool. That's I was wondering,
Yeah,
I'm like, man, is there some like in all the years I studied theology, did I miss something with a really
yeah.
cool name?
It's and it is. There's over 35,000 like Buddhist priests all over the world. And on my ship, I'm not the only one.
Man, I might have to ordain myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's nice and easy. I think probably to get my whole kit, because I have a letter of good standing.
Oh, good.
I
He
also
carries this around with him everywhere.
That's my Buddhist priest
Obviously,
identification.
it's backwards to you.
That, you know, you got me. I think I might have to do that just so I can have
So
this
2 seconds. I'll
Oh
just
no!
yeah, I'm
Oh,
gonna grab it.
He's got to grab the whole pack he
I've
got.
gone full dude.
It's mad.
Take up the.
He's
Right,
got to
okay.
go and get.
Thank you for watching Fascination Street. I'm the co-host, Mika Pearson, and
Yeah,
oh, it's gonna be too late now, isn't it?
it is a little bit.
I don't know
He's
what
gonna
I've
get.
got coming.
He's gonna get it anyway.
No matter what we do, he's got to get it.
Finish it quickly.
I
Quickly.
opened a can of worms here.
Oh no!
Well, Mika, while it's just us, what are your favorite bands?
Blink, Green Day. Oh, here he comes. Angels and Airwaves, Motorhead. I've got loads of beautiful stuff. Queen. Oh,
And you also flirt with old school Jamaican ska, don't you?
yes, I do.
Nice.
Sky.
Good diversity there. Ooh,
That is my certificate of ordination.
that that is a beautiful thing.
Yep. I also have my Bible tucked away. It must be in my briefcase with my business papers or something. I
Yeah,
don't
as you
know.
go door to door with your certificate and Dudist Bible.
Well, they're starting a movement in the UK at the moment where they're trying to get it recognized.
Oh,
Because if I come to the States, I can marry people.
Really? You serious?
Yeah, with it, all you got to do is check your state code and state law, and if it's groovy, I'm good to marry you.
Done.
We're gonna get married?
No, I'm not going to marry you.
Oh, well, hey, man. Come on.
But obviously, if you and your good lady decide at some point, you got to do this priest that can do it for you. But I think
That's-
Jimmy Church is a do this priest as well.
oh, man.
I believe so. But
Oh, will you
if you can,
friends?
if you can block your ears for a second, the ethos of being a dudist is just to take it easy, relax, just don't take no shit. Just be cool. Be cool to everyone. Be cool with everything, and don't be an arsehole. Okay, you can take him out now. And
He can't hear
that's the take him out. And that's the ethos of being a dudist. No hassle.
I can handle that. I think that might be
Ju-
one religion that I can abide by all the commandments.
Abiding. That is it. That is the key word. Abiding.
Yep.
I love dudism like you like gnomes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh,
What I'll
man.
do is, is after the show, I'll actually send you the links. I've got the links for where to get ordained and that because it's just such a cool thing. It really is.
I might have to do that.
It's free. It's free to get ordained, but if you want all your certificates and everything, then obviously I think it's only $35.
No, that's not. As
It was the shipping that stung me more than everything else. So
long as I don't have to go years of theological schooling, then hey, this is way cheaper.
no, that's cool. And then all you got to do is buy like the Dudist Bible on like Amazon for like maybe $7 or $8.
I
Or
can
if you're not
handle
that
that.
fussy, get a pre-owned one, right?
I might make it through that one.
So, right, where are we at?
That's it.
We're all there. Right, okay, Brett. I'd like to say from me,
And from me,
thank you so much for taking a stroll down Fascination Street. It's been absolutely delightful to meet you. And honestly, you're just the best. And we cannot wait to have you back on again.
Yeah, we can do that soon. And thank both of you. And you guys have a good future coming your way. And thank you for all the help you put into this. We don't want you to be an unsung hero. I'm glad they're giving you some camera time now.
Amen.
I didn't like it at first. I was very shy, but I've been kind of like dropped in that I have to ask what the people want to ask.
And
So
also, don't forget soon that you're going to be a guest host
I am going to be a guest host soon. So I've got to
Oh.
get camera time. Yes.
on Young Kelly's new show.
Oh,
Explain this, it's
yeah.
Erica.
She wants me to be a guest host, so I've got to get my confidence up.
Well, you're doing great.
Thank you.
You
That's
just
very sweet.
pretend that you don't have 1,000 people watching.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, Brett. So that's goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, thank you all very much.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye now, mate.
Yeah.
Where are we? Oh, we
Dexter, your albums are coming.
I think we've stopped.
Have we stopped?
Oh,
no, we're still going
I
live.
know we're still going
now
on.
we just
Sorry,
got some
I'm just
upward
waiting for
air
the feed to cut
time.
out now.
Yep. So, hey, everyone, make sure you buy all my crap. It's great.
And there will be a link in the description.
Yeah, there you go. All
The link's
right.
still going. It was meant to cut out by now.
Hey, it's the
Where's
people
Kelly?
want to see you. That's why. The camera loves your face.
Hey, there we go.
Hey! So Inquire Within has gone. This, honestly, I love live because anything can go wrong and you just got to fill in.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. As always, we always appreciate all the time you put in to come in, hang out with us in our little home. So, from producer Sarah.
Good night.
And from me, Jimmy Pearson, good night.
And from me, Mika Pearson, good night.
This show was brought to you in association with PMG Goods, truly cosmic clothing.
By a member of our
Community.
community.
For our
And
community. What's it with you clothing? And don't forget, promo code FS15 off will guarantee you 15% off every order over $40. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye, everyone.